It's 4:45 on the 22nd of July 2025. Temryuk Bay, Azov Sea. A Russian Bayan-M corvette lies moored to the fuel pier. Hoses snaking across the deck as crews reload 8 3.14 caliber cruise missiles. The night is quiet. A low diesel hum. Dock lights haloed by mist. Then, a disguised speedboat breaks from the fishing line, engines flaring once, and 2 small Beaver FPV drones leap into the air. Alarms snap on. Panzer S-1 gunners stumble to stations. Belts slam into trays. The fire control screen floods with warnings. The first drone drops low, streaking for the ship's Podlet K-1 radar. A white flash wipes the scope and the topmast goes dark. The second rises, skims, and angles toward the clustered caliber canisters being serviced amidships. The commander barks for suppression, for smoke, for hard turns that a tied-up hull cannot make. Sparks shower the pier. Every second is now a coin flip. Stop the next impact, or watch a loaded warship become a burning buoy. In the Azov Sea, Temryuk Bay is more than just a quiet harbor. It's a funnel for Russian logistics, fuel, weapons, and routes that keep Moscow's war machine supplied. The Bayan-M corvette, small but dangerous, carries caliber cruise missiles that can strike hundreds of miles inland. For Ukraine, stopping even one such ship means fewer missiles raining down on cities. For Russia, losing it is both a military blow and a political embarrassment. This is not a battle fought in open waters. It's inside a bay that looks safe, ringed with defenses, radar posts, and special forces. Russia assumed its ships could refuel and reload beyond reach. But Ukraine, adapting under pressure, turned speedboats and cheap kamikaze drones into precision weapons. A few $1,000s of flying machines now threaten a vessel worth hundreds of millions. That shift makes every commander nervous. For Ukraine, the stakes are clear. Deny Russia the freedom to launch caliber strikes and keep the Black Sea Fleet on the defensive. For Moscow, the pressure cuts both ways. If ships are unsafe, even in their own backyard, it signals weakness. Insurance rates rise. Commanders second-guess how long they can keep vessels tied to docks. Every tactical loss carries strategic weight. In wars like this, perception can outweigh steel. A tilted corvette isn't just hardware, it's a symbol. It shows whether Russia can secure its coast and whether Ukraine can strike at will. The balance of fear shifts with every explosion. So here's a question. In this clash, who holds the upper hand, Russia's warships or Ukraine's drones? Drop 1 if you think drones change the game, or 9 if you believe the corvette still rules the bay. And if you don't want to miss the next strike, make sure you're subscribed. 4:47. The first fireball fades, and the Bayan-M's Podlet K-1 radar is gone, its main eyes burned out in one strike. Officers yell for backups, but the corvette is tied to the pier, fuel hoses draped across the deck, 8 caliber canisters half-loaded. A ship built to launch missiles across the sea cannot even turn its bow. When moored, maneuver the first layer of defense is gone. Across the bay, a disguised speedboat throws a faint wake. Inside, Ukraine's 73rd Naval Special Purpose Center steers the feed with calm hands. They don't need the drone to return, only to strike. Cheap drones flip the math, lose the airframe, keep the effect. 4:48. With Podlet down, the crew relies on local sensors and eyes. A petty officer calls a bearing. The Panzer hammers, sparks bursting from a gantry. Shore radars try to help, but delay kills at this range. Seconds decide survival. 4:49. The second UAV clears the deck and dives. It smashes near the caliber launchers. White-orange fire blooms, hoses whip, fittings shriek. Flames spread across the launcher zone. Damage control teams drag foam lines, hack the fueling hose, and slam valves shut. 4:51. The corvette takes a list 3, maybe 5 degrees, then steadies. Deck markers tilt, sailors brace. Pumps cough to life. The Panzer searches through glare, blinded by flame, while smoke meant to mask curls back across the superstructure. Thermal clutter hides drones and blinds your own defenses. 4:53. Tugs push off. A pilot boat noses close, then veers off as debris rains down. Foam smothers launcher stubs. A team drops pumps into a flooding space and shouts, "Taking water! Holding!" Another sprays bulkheads, steel pinging under heat. 4:55. On the Ukrainian feed, the picture flares, steadies, then cuts. Objective met. Radar blinded, launcher wrecked, the corvette crippled. In the dark, the speedboat blends into coastal traffic, nets and paint masking it as a workboat. 4:57. The noise shifts from guns to groans, pumps at redline, fittings popping, fire stubborn but boxed. The first exchange ends. The ship isn't sunk, but it isn't a hunter. It's a liability, and every minute at the pier risks turning a cripple into a headline. 4:58. Fire still smolders on the corvette's deck when a new warning comes in. More drones are inbound. The Panzer crew steels themselves, adjusting optics clouded with smoke. Sirens wail from shore batteries. Searchlights sweep the bay, catching foam and haze, but not the next threat. The ship is wounded, listing, and every new contact could finish the job. The commander orders tighter defense. Guns and sensors sweep arcs, locking down sectors. Damage control teams split, half fighting fire, half bracing for impact. The corvette is trapped between survival and combat, unable to focus fully on either. Split efforts weaken both tasks. The first of the new drones streaks in low over the water. A burst of 30mm fire shreds it, fragments raining into the bay. Cheers echo, then die as another drone cuts through the smoke, closing fast. The Panzer tracks late, rounds bursting behind. Sailors brace for impact, but the drone veers off, detonating in the shallows. A narrow escape that buys seconds, not safety. By 5, the sky above Temryuk Bay is alive, with noise engines buzzing, tracers flashing, shouts over radios. Ukrainian operators push wave after wave, trying to overwhelm a system built for limited simultaneous targets. Russia answers with every gun it has, even rifles from the pier. Each intercept is a small win. Each miss risks disaster. Farther out, spotters swear they hear another tiny engine somewhere in the smoke. The corvette turns as far as its mooring allows, presenting a slimmer profile. Tugboats shift position, ready to drag the ship clear if flames flare again. Sailors on deck keep hoses trained while others slam fresh belts into the Panzer's feed trays. Smoke blankets the bay, hiding movements on both sides, but also blinding defenders to what's real and what's ghost. Pressure builds not just on steel, but on nerves. Every man knows the next strike could be the one that tips the ship. Every Ukrainian operator knows one drone slipping through can make headlines. In this duel of endurance, the question is simple. Who breaks first? And that's where you come in. Who cracks under pressure? Russia's warship or Ukraine's drones? Drop 1 if you think the drones will break through, or 9 if the corvette still holds the line. Tap subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. 5-3. Just as the Panzer gunners reload, the horizon shifts again. Spotters shout, something smaller is moving, hugging the waterline. Not the same kind of drone as before. These are faster, stripped down, harder to track. Ukraine is throwing a new card onto the table. The ship's sensors hesitate, confused by the clutter of smoke and foam drifting across the bay. The targets skim so low they almost vanish into the chop. To the naked eye, they look like floating shadows until their engines whine and the wakes sharpen. The corvette's crew realizes this is no second wave, it's a twist. The fight is evolving in real time. The commander barks for tighter angles. Guns depress, sweeping the surface. Fire control officers adjust radars already half blind, trying to pin down what barely shows up. Every second lost shortens the distance. Low-altitude drones cut reaction time to near zero. One slips in closer. Tracers splash around it, a curtain of sparks, but the target jukes and skims onward. The crew grips rails, waiting for impact that doesn't come. The drone pulls wide, circling for another approach. These are not suicide runs alone. They probe, test, force defenders to waste ammo. 5-5. The atmosphere on deck is raw nerves. Every shout carries urgency. The corvette's fate hangs on whether men can adjust faster than machines designed for another threat. Tugboats hover, waiting for the order to tow while damage control teams keep hoses running in case the next hit finds fuel. This new tactic is the moment both sides dread and crave. For Ukraine, it's proof cheap innovations can outpace expensive defenses. For Russia, it's the nightmare of being hunted even inside its own harbor. The balance could tip either way. 5-7. The new wave arrives, low, fast, weaving through smoke. The Panzer opens up with everything it has, tracers ripping across the bay. The wounded corvette groans under stress, flames licking the deck, yet its crew fights like a cornered animal. The first drone races in. A burst catches it, fragments spraying water in bright arcs. Cheers rise but fade instantly as another silhouette slips through. Closer, faster. The CIWS thunders, barrels glowing, the night shredded by fire. One hit, then another. The drone vanishes in a ball of spray. 5-9. Deck crews reload belts by hand, knuckles raw, eyes stinging. Every man knows the next contact could be their last. A third drone breaks cover, twisting through smoke. The Panzer slews too slow. For a moment, it looks certain the crew braces, then a final burst connects. The target shatters, wreckage tumbling into the water meters from the hull. The pier itself shudders. But no time to celebrate. Sensors scream another inbound. 5-11. The drone skims straight for the stern, ignoring tracers. Damage control teams drop hoses, diving for cover. At the last second, the CIWS roars to life. A storm of rounds cuts the air, and the drone explodes so close, fragments rain across the deck like hail. The ship shakes, but the hull holds. 5-12. Ammo runs thin. A gun team clears a jam with blistered hands, slams the cover, and shouts ready. The captain orders one last sweep and tow lines readied. Ash drifts across the bay. The air stings with diesel and smoke. Onshore, rifle fire snaps at ghosts while spotlights rake empty water. Pumps thrum below, fighting floods inch by inch. 5-13. The sky clears. Smoke drifts. No new warnings come. For the first time in half an hour, silence creeps back into Timryuk Bay. The Boyan M still burns, its systems shattered but it's afloat. Tugboats edge closer, lines ready. The corvette is crippled, but not gone. For the crew, survival itself feels like victory. This was the climax: cheap Ukrainian drones pushing a modern Russian warship to the brink, and defenses holding by inches. It's a duel of endurance, innovation against hardware, nerves against firepower. Who do you think truly won this round? Drop 1 if you side with the drones, or 9 if you think the corvette proved its resilience, and make sure you're subscribed to see what happens after the smoke clears. 5-20. Tugboats secure lines to the crippled Boyan M. The corvette lists 5 degrees, smoke pouring from its launcher deck, hoses still spraying foam. With radar gone and caliber tubes twisted, the ship is no longer a combat asset. Crews fight to keep her afloat, but she must be towed to Sevastopol for repairs. For now, she is out of the war. For Ukraine, the raid is a sharp tactical win. 2 cheap Beaver drones, launched from a disguised speedboat, disabled a Russian missile ship worth hundreds of millions. The cost was a fraction of the damage. Commanders in Kyiv see proof that small, expendable systems can cripple expensive platforms. Each strike boosts morale, rattles Russia, and keeps pressure on its Black Sea fleet. It also signals to allies that innovation still gives Ukraine an edge. For Russia, the message is grim. A ship meant to project power was instead trapped and humiliated inside a safe harbor. Its defenses worked eventually, but only after the ship was neutralized. Moscow can claim survival, but it cannot hide the loss of capability or the fact that its vessels are vulnerable even at their own piers. Insurance rates spike, and allies quietly question how secure Russian waters really are. Strategically, the fight shows the future of war. Cheap drones forcing expensive navies to burn ammunition and accept risk. One damaged corvette won't decide the war, but it shifts the balance of fear. Russia must defend every dock and bay. Ukraine only needs to find one weak point at a time. That asymmetry makes these clashes decisive. The night ends with fire still glowing on steel, tugboats dragging a wounded ship into dawn. It's a reminder that in modern conflict, The side that adapts faster writes the headlines and the other side reads them. So tell me, was this Ukraine's victory? Or did Russia prove resilience by keeping the buoyant M afloat? Drop 1 if you think the drones won the night, or 9 if survival means the corvette still counts, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next battle.